We are Mike and Taylor, and these are our dogs, Penny and Lucy. We sold our home and nearly everything we owned, moved aboard a 40-foot boat, and sailed from Seattle. This is the story of us making our way. Welcome back, friends. A couple weeks ago, we sailed out of Costa Rica and headed south, into the wild Pacific coast of Panama, where we have been treated to non-stop, spectacular encounters with wildlife. The migration of southern hemisphere humpback whales have put on shows for us. From playful breaches to underwater serenades to extremely close drive-bys. In these pristine waters, the marine life has blown us away. We've swum with sharks and turtles and whales, making our final dives here in the Pacific Ocean even more special. It has been unbelievably beautiful with so many high moments, but behind the scenes, there's been an equal amount, or maybe even more, of low moments. So real talk time. I'm always a little bit hesitant to share more of like the lows of this kind of lifestyle, only because the internet really just doesn't like it when you have a bad day. Yeah, I would say that the truth is that has been the case. I think that, there is always, no matter if you're in like the most benign, like cruising area and waters, and no matter how, seasoned you are, there's always like a level of vigilance and like alertness and sort of on edgeness that this lifestyle just necessitates, like it requires if you are to stay safe. With all of the moving pieces and variables. So no matter where you are, that's just kind of a baseline thing. But basically, since we've left Mexico, maybe even a little bit before that, that sort of baseline vigilance, for me anyway, has been turned up to 11. And we were warned a lot about Costa Rica. We almost skipped Costa Rica entirely because everybody was like, the anchorages are so rolly, like you can't tuck in anywhere. The, wet season, like lightning storms are real and a bummer, and, it's expensive and all these other things. We almost skipped Costa Rica. But, the truth is that I loved Costa Rica. I loved it. We both did. Oh my God. But it's true. It was so intense. And, having 3 months where the boat's not sitting still and, beach landings are really tough and kind of stressful, and trying to, get the dogs to shore every day in those conditions with swell and everything. And then you add in like crocodiles and really close calls with some lightning strikes that we've had so far. There's just like an accumulation of that kind of stress that I have found to be like super, super exhausting and draining. And I feel like we're kind of it was really nice to do a reset in the marina in Golfito in southern Costa Rica. But since we've left there, it's kind of been back up. And Panama hasn't been any better than Costa Rica on all of those fronts. Like rolly anchorages, really intense squalls and lightning storms, some tougher beach landings and so on. So anyway, yeah, I'm just feeling like, I think we both are, we talk about this quite a bit, but I'm feeling pretty run down from just all of the shit that we have to watch. And here, What's extra frustrating is the wind forecasts have been reliably wrong. Like, not right at all. And then when you add in the squalls here, which are legit, I mean, they, you can get up to like 50 knots and lightning, and you don't want to be in those. Effectively, what happens is, like, you take the shred of like predictability and stability that you have in this lifestyle, which is like forecasts, and you just burn it. And so, we're kind of just like always on edge and watching the clouds and the weather and the wind. And of course, like I said, we're always doing that anyway, but it's just like, it's to an intensity that is just unsustainable. Like, it's been kind of rough. I know it feels sort of weird saying that because we're in like the most gorgeous places on the planet, and I don't know, maybe it is important to know that even the most beautiful places in the world can be really hard, because it's really hard out here. It's been a lot out here. Feeling a little run down, feeling a little drained. It's been challenging, but hopefully we'll be out of the woods here soon and onto some really nice cruising grounds and back into the fun of this whole thing. But we're feeling it. We're just feeling it. I think the dogs are feeling it too, man. The next morning, we left the UNESCO World Heritage Site and Nature Preserve of Isla Coiba, and we were off to stage for a big and daunting passage that would start in the wee hours of the next day. But getting to our staging anchorage proved to be its own challenge, as we dodged a record number of trees, logs, and floating debris. Like big stuff, although you definitely still see big stuff, but what's most remarkable is the amount of trash in the water here. I mean, it's just all plastic. It's just plastic bottles, like perfectly spaced every couple of feet for as far as you can see in every direction, and it's really sad. Plastic bottles, plastic bottles, plastic bottles, plastic bottles. So sometimes the way the currents run, they just make these like, you'll see like nothing for a long time, and then you'll just be like in a total minefield, because all of the debris kind of like flows together with the current. And so you get these fields that you have to navigate, and this has been like one of the biggest with the most trash I think we've like ever seen on the ocean. It's just everywhere. We got something big coming up. Makes me a little nervous because we've got 1.5 night sails that we've got to do. Tonight we're getting up at, I don't know, 1 a.m. or whatever. And then we'll be traveling all through tomorrow night. You know, and like just with this much shit that you can hit, some really big stuff. You know, it makes me nervous, especially when you get a little bit of a cloud cover. I mean, it is absolutely, there's nothing. You can't see anything. So, I don't know. Okay, we're just pulling into our anchorage here and just in time because holy smokes, look at this thing. Day, night. That's crazy. I think we're gonna see some of this shortly after we anchor, but we're gonna nestle in here and drop between a couple reefs and try to get some sleep tonight for a few hours. Okay, wow, anchor's down. Oh, it's coming. It's right here. It's a big one. You look fuzzy.
I look fuzzy?
Yeah. That's the water pressure. Did you just take a spoonful of water?
A little more. Rain's coming.
Yeah, man, it's hot today. This feels good. It feels cold. It's such a temperature change. Wow, the air is literally 75.
What was it before, 89?
It was 90, yeah, it was 88 before, or 89. Yeah, in 5 minutes it dropped to 75. That's crazy. Wow.
That, when on the way in, that felt like that big one that we got nailed with when we were sailing.
Yeah.
I was a little worried, and then it just passed and dissipated, but like on the way in there was like sheets of rain. Like I could see them blowing across the mountains, and you could see like the, you know, when they blow in sheets. Gotta get the sudsies off
Oh man, I'm so tired. It's like 5:30. We are gonna wake up at 1 a.m. I think. I think the plan is to be on the road at 2 a.m. and we are gonna round Punta Mala. It's gonna be like I don't know, anything from a 30 to 40 hour passage. It really kind of depends on the currents and how, you know, slow or fast they decide to keep us. We're really hoping it's mild. It's not named Punta Mala for nothing. So yeah, Punta Mala is it's like that giant square appendage that like sticks out of Panama on the Pacific side. And yeah, we've had, I think, maybe like a couple dozen friends do this already. You know, they're already on the other side of Mala. and it's about split down the middle for people. Some people were like, oh no, it was, no big deal. And the other half was like, yeah, it was either challenging or the most challenging passage they've ever had. So, as far as the variables that we can control, or not control, but like more or less predict, kind of, like wind stuff, we should be alright-ish. But the real wild card is squalls and lightning storms. There's a ripping current around this thing, so we have to time it really, really closely. We need to be like turning the point just at slack tide. The other kind of sketchy thing, like I've been mentioning, is that this is like 1.5 nights, like night passages here, which, we've tried to avoid at all costs because of the amount of shit in the water. Like there's so much debris. So there's like a lot to kind of be nervous about, and I'm nervous about it, and I think Mike is too. And honestly, I've been a little nervous about this passage for months. Like it's just been this thing that's like looming. So I'm really looking forward to having this behind us. Really, really, really. I mean, all you can do is just cross your fingers. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna eat some food. I'm gonna try to get a few hours of sleep. And we'll be off in the morning to around Punta Mala.
It's 2 a.m. and we just picked up anchor. And it's kind of crazy. This is our last sail in the Pacific. We're getting ready to go around Punta Mala and go into Panama City. And then we'll just be going into Marina and getting ready for the canal. So that was our last anchorage, and this is our last sail in the Pacific. It's kind of weird, very weird actually. But it's pretty dark. Taylor's up on the bow trying to do her best to keep a lookout for floating debris. That's kind of my biggest concern on this. But Punta Mala's obviously got a reputation and a reason why it's called Punta Mala. So I think, but we'll be okay. The wind forecasts look pretty benign. It might be against us for most of it. So then it's really just going to be squalls, which, I mean, you can't really do much to forecast those. But those are my two biggest concerns: floating debris and then a nasty squall. Excited to get to Panama City on 165 miles first.
As soon as we had rounded our first corner, the lightning began all around us. It was far off in the distance, but it was in every single direction we looked. We were surrounded. All we could do was check our apps for the location of the nearest strikes, cross our fingers and toes, and keep on trucking. It carried on this way through the entire night, and finally, daylight arrived.
Oh man, that morning was just a crazy light show. There was like lightning almost like every way we looked. It was like having like multiple strobe lights kind of going off like constantly. But it's a very gray day, and we're just kind of slowly motoring into like 8 to 10 knots and trying to dodge these squalls. Big one back here. But so far so good. We've got like 140 miles, a little less to go.
As we approached the far corner of Punta Mala, the wind filled in a little bit, but the flurry of passing squalls all night combined with the currents had made for quite a sloppy sea state. So we raised sail and bounced and sloshed and rolled our way along, careful to make our turn around the point at exactly slack tide. As we made our turn, we got met with 25-knot headwinds, and we pointed our bow towards Panama City.
We're supposed to have winds gusting as high as 8 right here, right now, and I think we've got 25.
We passed some large and somewhat disconcerting debris, but we also gained a crew member. Meet Peach. Peach was a pleasant distraction from the weather for the whole crew, and we were very happy to be able to offer him some rest and water. Sadly, he didn't stay with us for so long, but we really hope that he was able to make it back to shore okay. The sun went down, and we enjoyed clear skies and easy overnight conditions, and luckily didn't hit anything. And by sunrise, we were approaching Panama City.
Oh man, well, we are approaching Panama City. We're about 21 miles from the marina, and had a pretty good rounding of Punta Mala. It got a little windy for a little while, but never got too bad. Somehow managed to avoid all of the storms. Like, they were all around, but we never got hit, so doing something right. Crazy, all the shipping traffic here. Look at my screen. So that's going to be our next task, is avoiding all of these bulk carriers and tankers and whatnot as they all line up to go through the canal. So just about did it. I think I'm gonna go down for like an hour of sleep, so that way I'm a little bit refreshed before we're navigating all these giant ships and pulling to the marina. But we did it. Wrapping up the last sail on the Pacific.
This moment felt like such an accomplishment and a relief all in one. To have made it through the brutal rainy season of Central America, and to think that we had actually sailed our little boat all the way from Seattle to the entrance of the Panama Canal felt surreal.
Kind of crazy to say, but we are pulling into Panama City right now. There are so many tankers and cargo ships here. It kind of reminds me of when we were in Los Angeles and
sailing out to Catalina, and we happened to be there during the whole supply chain shortage issue of 2021, and there was just like cargo ships on cargo ships that were all lined up outside of LA and Newport that we sailed through to get out to Catalina. And right now there's a huge backup of cargo ships trying to get through the canal because of a drought here in Panama. So wow. There's Panama City, baby! We did it! Panama City, baby! Be sure to join us next time as we explore beautiful Panama City, welcome crew for the canal, and say goodbye to the Pacific. We transited the Panama Canal